I think the problem today is really, one of the problems anyways, is the lack of thriving. In the workplace, about 60% of people self-describe, I'm not thriving. I'm actually suffering every day. And that's global. And of course, that's going to impact your family, your friendships, but on the job, right? Yes. How can you really thrive if every day you're languishing?
And then I'm going into the corporate world where it's business. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Absolutely.
Here we go. And definitely imposter syndrome came in. Just like, do I belong here? All of that stuff. Not always, obviously not easy, but I'm really proud of myself.
Absolutely.
I have completely shifted and successfully. And I also know, I trust myself so much. I was like, I know I will create success.
Yes.
And I create success because I also ask for help. Actually, at the core, all humans have one of these four things: feeling not good enough, I am unlovable, I am powerless, and I am not worthy.
I felt all four of those this week.
It's like up and down, up and down.
Different moments, right? Actually, this morning, 3 of them, So every day is a new day. Hey everybody, it's just Abe Brown here today with Rosalyn.
Hello. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you're here. If you don't know Rosalyn Funk, she's one of our founding investors and senior partners here in Flourishing and certified flourishing coach and flourishing workplace. And she's a great friend.
Yeah,
an amazing coach, a great human being.
Thank you.
So she's going to be showing up on a bunch of videos, which is just awesome, in our podcast, on our YouTube channel. And it's great. And we just thought it would be kind of cool to kick back and chat a little bit about what we're seeing and what we're up to in 2025. Because as you know, we're just pumping out content all the time. So you're definitely getting well fed that way. But what's happening? And so just like from the heart, like what are you seeing and what are you feeling for 2025? What's happening for you?
Well, let's talk about where I came from. How about that? Because it has been a really big year for me.
Yeah, it's been an amazing year actually watching you.
Yeah, thank you, Abe. And thank you so much for your support.
Hey,
seriously.
Always.
We have known each other. I love to tell our story how we met. We met on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was probably over 10. It's been at least 10, maybe even I think I had children already, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So
but
probably around 10 years ago.
Pretty young, very young.
Yeah. My boys are 10 and 12 now. Yeah. And I was still a psychologist when we met. I started my coaching business 8 years ago, and I was the first psychologist in Alberta to create an online program, which was a lot of red tape.
It's amazing.
We figured it out legally and ethically, and that was in 2015. And just more doors opened. And then I started my coaching business. So over the years, I always joke. I'm like, I change my title every year, but it's not really a joke. It's because as I'm like obsessed with personal and spiritual development. And as I grow, my business evolves and reflects that. So I was specializing in marketing and messaging for the last 4.5 years. And then I felt more called to come into the corporate space as I started to, not on purpose, nothing's ever by accident, but
that's for sure.
Work more with corporate clients and started with a client named Debbie who works in insurance. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she really wanted to work on mindset and taking herself to next level leadership.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, absolutely. This would be so much fun. And then my business I realized as much as I loved working with marketing and messaging, I felt complete. And I really wanted to lean heavier into leadership and the beliefs, shifting the beliefs and the mindset and helping people like really learn how to lead and run their teams.
Yeah, love that.
And so Abe and the Flourishing team have been so critical and part of my transition because it was really this process of, all right, I'm going to put myself in places that are uncomfortable for me because I came from a world where it's more holistic, lots of much more healers and light workers. And then I'm going into the corporate world where it's business. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Absolutely.
Here we go. And definitely imposter syndrome came in and just like, do I belong here? All of that stuff. And I'm like, everybody's human, Roz.
Yes.
You will be fine.
Absolutely.
And we're all
Absolutely.
just human. And just, I just came in, and I am one of those people that like to make themselves uncomfortable.
Yep.
For it, as I'm working in alignment, to know that I'm stretching outside to grow.
Yep. Love that.
Not always, obviously not easy.
Yes.
But I'm really proud of myself.
Absolutely.
I have completely shifted and successfully. And I also know, I trust myself so much. I was like, I know I will create success.
Yes.
And I create success because I also ask for help.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And you're a huge part of that. The team has been just like leaning in, feeling the call to integrate more with Flourishing. And it feels like I've arrived, if you will, whatever that means. Right. And it's like, okay, here I am leading leaders and teams, working, shifting their mindsets, working with the unconscious beliefs, which is my favorite thing, as you know. And then we just had fun where we just had a Thriving Sales Business Conference here, and that was fun coming up in person and working with the facilitator, or with you guys, and then facilitating the deeper stuff.
Yeah, so, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and from an outsider observer perspective, and it's not really outsider because we are, I think, really connected.
Yeah,
but
we are.
It's been so cool to actually watch your journey, because I would describe you, and I mean this in all sincerity, as one of the most, if not the most heart-centered influencer I know, where those shifts are always authentic. And it's about, you really leaning in and understanding. But to me, it's like new levels of evolution, right?
Yes.
And,
absolutely.
To me, there's absolutely no reason why somebody like you, or actually, frankly, anyone, should be nervous or cautious about the corporate space, because what's happening in that space is there's a recognition that spreadsheets and dollars and cents are not actually solving all of our problems, maybe some of them, but other problems they're causing. And the holistic approach is very quickly being embraced by people at the highest levels, and not like necessarily weirdo stuff where it's all things that are out of the box, but some of it is. And then a lot of it is just helping people to reconnect to their own sense of grounding and authenticity. Who am I? Because you can get taken over in the corporate world. You can get taken over in a large or even a small organization. Now you're running around for someone else's agenda, rather than really trying to lean into who and what I'm meant to be. And frankly, that's what is going to bring productivity to the workplace anyways, right? So for those of you who may not know, and I'll just mention this, of course, is, when Rosalyn's talking about Flourishing, it's really the name kind of our company or group of companies. And really, if you wanted to understand that a bit more, I can talk about what is happening with us in 2025.
Yes.
Because we really have two main pillars, and one of them is called Certified Flourishing Coach. And of course, it's .com, and you can check that out, certifiedflourishingcoach.com. And the focus there is on coach training, certification, focusing on helping, supporting the individual with personal and professional development. And that's the part of our business that's just recently now receiving ICF accreditation, so we can offer ICF level 1 accreditation for coaches. And so if you're interested, please do reach out. And then the second main pillar is in the corporate space, and we call that Flourishing Workplace. And, the reason we keep using this word flourishing is not only is it a cool word, right? But it's also an evidence-based approach to how people and communities can thrive together. I think the problem today is really, one of the problems anyways, is the lack of thriving, in the workplace. About 60% of people self-describe, I'm not thriving. I'm actually suffering every day. And that's global, right? This is according to Gallup, their survey of the workplace that they do, State of the Workplace, every year. And of course, that's going to impact your family, your sex life, your friendships, but on the job, right? How can you really thrive if every day you're languishing? So we're pumped because we've been working literally for years towards this ICF accreditation. And, really, it's just a marker of external validation. I mean, you don't put everything on that, but it is important to have, sort of the globally recognized body come along and say, hey, what you guys are doing makes sense. We like it. And of course, we've been training and certifying thousands of coaches. And so many of those will be able to come back and kind of put them on a fast track and get them through the process. But, you know, in the workplace is where some of the most exciting stuff is going on. And you've been a part of that, and I know you're doing more. So what are you seeing in those workplaces and in that corporate environment? What are you feeling? What are you seeing?
You know, I honestly, it's coming back at the end of the day. It's like, okay, because I love working with the unconscious beliefs, right? Which is what really all results are driven, all learning behavior change is driven by the 90% of our brain, the unconscious. And so if it's not working, right, we got to look at what is unconsciously there.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is like the inner critic.
Yeah.
Self-doubt.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
Yeah.
Actually, at the core, all humans have one of these four things: feeling not good enough, I am unlovable, I am powerless, and I am not worthy.
I felt all four of those this week.
It's like up and down, up and down.
Different moments, right? Actually, this morning, 3 of them, you know. So every day is a new day.
And so it's like getting to that root.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is sometimes we don't need to like tell the whole story. Our body holds a story because
that's true.
The unconscious is stored in the body. Yeah. And so when we can just work quickly and shift that, that's amazing, because then they can see how that belief has been affecting their ability to maybe show up and share more content. Yeah. You know, face a camera or pick up that phone and follow up with that lead or close that sale.
Yes.
So it does absolutely affect business.
You see, this is this is one of the biggest things we're coming to understand. And so those 4 beliefs again are, just to the slow learners like me.
I'm like, you're going to make me repeat it.
That's right.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Unlovable.
Unlovable.
Unworthy.
Unworthy.
And powerless.
And powerless. Now, think about that for just a moment, right? Let's combine that now with what we know about neuroscience. And when people go through life and they feel those 4 things, it completely shuts your brain down, or at least the prefrontal cortex and the parts of your brain that can innovate and create and make intelligent decisions and process information. You're stuck in the amygdala because you're always in a place of fear. And imagine the impact in your own life, in terms of your job, if that's what you're carrying. But then imagine the impact when you bring a team together. So my last 2 days, I was with an organization doing actually north of Edmonton, where Roz lives, and it was an organization. We were focused on doing a workshop we have called Thriving Workplace Culture. And it was such a wonderful deep dive. But I can tell you that every single attendee said that in the workplace, I feel those 4 things that you just described. And every one of them was broken by it because they recognized it was impacting their performance.
Yes.
Right? I can't perform at my best if I don't feel worthy, right? The challenge, I think, too, is then how then does that shape how we treat others?
Yes.
Right? What sort of mechanisms am I employing? Maybe it's manipulation, maybe it's abuse, maybe it's discrimination, maybe it's harassment, maybe it's overcompensation, maybe it's disengagement. But there's all kinds of things then that we do because we have to kind of live with ourselves and function.
There's like that armor there that we create, or what I like to say is like this life jacket you unconsciously created as usually a young child to fit in, because at the core of us, we want to feel loved, safe, and belong.
Yeah.
So when we don't feel that, we are unconsciously, usually as children, creating these strategies. Yeah. So we don't look at things as good or bad, but does it serve you and support you, or does it no longer serve and support? And when it's no longer serving, supporting, we need to look at what that root cause is.
And that's why you need to reach out, small business owner, nonprofit executive, leader, big business owner, you name it, and have us come and support you. Because imagine the power of this. You know, I've led large organizations and worked in the corporate space, the nonprofit space at executive levels for many years. But then you have this amazing psychologist / coach / energy healer. And imagine the combination of that in your organization, not to blow it up, but to actually come alongside and say, okay, here's the policies and here's the procedures and here's the outcomes we're looking for. Yeah. But then this is the how.
Yes.
Because, you know, people are not robots. They're not automatons. They're not part of the Borg.
Yeah.
They actually are individuals. They need to be seen, heard, understood. And, you know, hey, organizational leader, you got a lot on your plate. You know, how can you possibly also, on top of everything else you're doing, be expected to also figure this stuff out? And even if you had it figured out, and maybe you do, it puts you in a little bit of a conflict, right? Because as you know, in the organization, everything is about building trust, and you need to be clear on what your role is versus what isn't. And I think that's where we can help, We have worked with countless Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, more than I can even name right now. Mom and pop shops. We've worked with electrician, construction companies, plumbing companies. We've worked with over 40 First Nations across Canada now. So whatever your challenge is, I think we can help.
Yes, absolutely. And, this is a little bit of behind the scenes peek, but every Monday we have team meetings here at Flourishing. Of course, it's on Zoom because I'm in Edmonton and some of our coaches are also not local.
Yeah.
We are global. We have some coaches and team members in Australia as well, and the Philippines, it's everywhere. So it's so wonderful. But one of the things that really just, Abe, that I admire about what you have created here, and really all of us have co-created, is the power. And it's really hard sometimes to explain the power of this work.
Yes.
And then when you share the stories and you're sharing the pictures, I'm like crying. And some of these stories, of course, are confidential. So the heart behind everything, and then the transformations that you were like, see this little girl, and then see that little boy. Like, this is how they started, and this is how, where they were after 3 days. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I put myself in their shoes. I'm like, wow, how life-changing is that? And then as I think about when even 10 years from now, 5 years, and they look back and they're like, that changed the trajectory. That changed how I see myself, how I see others, how I view the world. Now I'm going to navigate into the world and move forward.
Yeah, with hope and optimism. And that's what it's all about. I mean, for us, right, it's about impact and it's about trying to make a difference. So, honestly, 2025 is going to be a good year. 2024 was a good year.
Yes.
Lots of struggles and challenges, but also adversity and opportunity. And we're really looking forward to 2025. And so please do reach out to flourishingworkplace.com or certifiedflourishingcoach.com. And let's talk about how we can serve you, because ultimately that's our desire. It's how can we make a difference for you with your team or you as an individual. We have amazing coaches like Ros and many, many others who work with one-on-one folks, and many, many others who work in teams and individual organizations. And so reach out. And any final nuggets of wisdom for 2025?
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know if it's a nugget of wisdom, but I'm very excited to be doing this in 2025 with more live workshops and offerings, in person. I think it's going to be so much fun, Abe.
I think so too. And so on that note, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out our next episode. Please do comment below. And if you have questions, put them in the comments. We'd love to answer them, and we will. And of course, like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Help us out. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next episode.